You're doing AI visibility wrong. Actually, everybody is, and here's why. AI visibility, whether or not your brand is being mentioned on places like ChatGPT and the other LLMs, Perplexity, Grok, etc., is based on mostly tools that use something called API calls to the ChatGPT, etc. LLMs in order to get back information to simulate what users are typing in. So for example, if you want to know like who is showing up when somebody types in best dentist San Francisco, then you would use an API call in your tool to make that call to simulate what a user would be doing there. Sounds great on paper. The problem is that guess what? The responses are not the same for an actual user doing it versus the API call between the tools, your AI visibility tool and the LLM. This was just proven in a study by a major SEO company, Surfer, who this is mind-blowing, guys. This is the whole industry is doing this wrong right now. For ChatGPT, the differences were amazing between API versus scraped. Scraped is, scraping the results of on the screen of somebody actually doing it, like a real session in ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever it is, right? So here's a summary of the differences from this company's report. And of course, for them, they do scrape, so it makes sense for them to highlight these differences. But for the length of the responses, what the LLM gave back, API responses average 406 words, scraped results average 743 words. That's a significant difference. But this is really important, the sources and like what's getting referenced on the search. With the API, web searches, 23, but basically a quarter of API responses didn't trigger any web search. Scraped results always did. It's like 100% of the time. That's a massive difference. Sources, APIs provided 0 sources 25% of the time, a quarter of the time. Scraped answers always included sources, averaging 16 versus the 7 in those 25% of the time. So these sources are important because it's where the LLMs are getting their information, which is how you then, or an intelligent person doing this, is going to determine where to put content, what to do, and so forth. Like, it's basically the whole roadmap is coming from this information. And so brand detection, APIs failed to detect any brands 8% of the time, period. Scraped answers always identified brands. These are critical differences. And here's the real kicker. Only 24% of brands like your company overlap between API and scraped results. That's a massive gap. For sources, the overlap was just 4%. Let that sink in. This is eye-opening. This means that you need to be very concerned about the tools that you or your person doing this work for you are using and making sure that they're basing it on good information, because if you do work based on bad information, you're not going to get good results. It also means you can't trust probably what you're seeing in your visibility tools. At our company, we only use scrape-based results at this point based on these types of things. I knew it was different and bad, but I had no idea it was even to this level. This study just came out. Anyway, if you want to know how your company's showing up right now in a real verifiable way, we'll do a free audit for you. Feel free to reach out. But no matter what you do, make sure you're using scrape results right now for AI visibility, because you're just going to get wildly different results if you're using these API-based tools.